by NERI Economic Institute in relation to the imbalance in job creation across the regions, highlighting particularly that over 90% of new jobs created in 2014 were in the Dublin and Mid-East region, and just to try and see what your policies are going to be to actually address that imbalance.
Based on the actual figures published by the CSO and given any fair and reasonable review of the data, the Nevin Institute's presentation of regional employment data in their spring report was at best highly misleading. In the 3 years since the Action Plan for Jobs was launched, every region has experienced job growth. Over that period, over 50% of the 90,000 jobs created were outside of Dublin and the Mid-East areas. Indeed, the fastest rate of growth in that period has been in the South East and the Midlands. In relation to the border region, the number of people at work has increased by 14,300, in the Midlands by 8,000 and in the South East by 22,700. The same is true of the agency-assisted enterprises, where 51% of gross employment creation during the period 2011 to 2014 was outside Dublin and the Mid-East. Among agency-supported companies, there were some very strong regional performances. Enterprise Ireland companies grew net employment in the South West by 27%, in the Midlands by 16%, while IDA companies grew net employment by 28% in the West and 21% in the border region. However, the Government recognises that some regions are growing faster than others. That is why we are putting in place regional action plans for jobs to accelerate employment in every region of the country. The purpose of these plans is to facilitate each region to achieve its economic potential, building on its existing strengths and opportunities. The regional enterprise plans will be developed through consultation with key stakeholders in each region. A stakeholder forum to help inform actions for inclusion in the plan for the border region is taking place today, the 26th of March, in Sligo. A further stakeholder forum will take place in Carrickmacross on the 13th of April. It is my intention to publish 6 regional action plans for jobs, including one for the border region by July, with a further 2 in development at that stage.
Deputy President.
So your own officials, in responding to the NERI report for last year, actually said that the figures were 70% of net job creation in the Dublin Mid-East region. So it's really a tweaking of statistics to make it look, but the fact is that the Dublin region and the Mid-East region is, and job creation is far exceeding every other region. And also as well, I think the border region is skewed probably by the fact that Louth is located in the border region. So when you get to the northwest in terms of Donegal, Sligo, Leitrim, the situation is an awful lot worse. And I think that's something that has to be addressed, and I've wait to see whether the action plan for jobs will actually move to address any of that imbalance, because it is vitally important for the northwestern regions and indeed for the overall development of the country that this imbalance is dealt with, because the east region cannot continue to sustain the migration that's taken place towards it as well, because of the fact that there aren't any jobs in the rest of the country. So I think the figures are there, the figures are real, and your own department accepts that it's 70%, maybe not than the 90%, but it's a fact that it's there, and you have to address that.
No, that is not true. I mean, the figure, just look at them yourself. The CSO provides the figures. The growth in employment in the highest rate of growth in employment was the South East, 12.8%. That was followed by the Midlands, 8.5%. Just behind that was Dublin. So Dublin was the third. Then you have 6.5% in the border regions, and so on. Now, but some regions aren't growing as fast as we would like, and we need to build on that. But you know, there is growth occurring across all regions. And I think the first base for any, you have to start with true figures. And the figures I quoted were for our agencies together. Obviously, some areas find it difficult to win IDA employment, and one of the actions that we are delivering in the regional enterprise plan will be investment in advanced facilities. So, for example, we are already building, as you know, in Letterkenny. We're now committing to build in Sligo. So, we are identifying that for some regions you need additional magnets to draw overseas investment. But it's also important to remember that well over 90% of employment is not in foreign-owned companies, and the strong performance in many of our counties is in Enterprise Ireland companies, who are growing by 20, and the highest figure there, as I quoted, the South West, 27%. But really strong performance in a number, including, for example, Sligo, a very strong performance among Irish-owned companies in Sligo. So we have to have a balance. We have to look at the figures honestly and look at the opportunities honestly, and work together to drive those opportunities.
Deputy Pringle.
No, so you're actually saying that your own department was wrong in responding to the NERI report in such a way by saying that there was 70% of net job creation was in the Mid-East region. And so we now have three sets of separate figures in relation to actually where job creation is taking place. So how can...
Sorry, I'll let you back in.
Well, so your department has started the statistics as well, and so I mean, we have three separate sets of figures here. So where are we going to actually see where the true figures are and what the true reflection is? But the fact remains is that emigration is still very high in the northwest, that job creation is not taking place, and that regional imbalance has to be addressed. And unfortunately, I don't see anything in these figures or anything that you said that will address that.
Minister.
Well, you know, if the Deputy chooses to be blind, he can be blind. He knows himself that IDA employment in your own county has grown by 40% in the last 4 years. 40% IDA employment has grown in Donegal. Now, that's an extraordinary performance by any standard, but we want more. We're investing in an advanced facility in Letterkenny. We're investing in an advanced facility in Sligo. Yes, you can distort statistics, and it's the oldest trick in the book. You know, some regions are growing and some regions are falling. The figures I gave you are the entire 4-year period. Nevin Institute chose 1-year period, then they chose to ignore the fact that some regions were falling. You could have presented the very same figures by saying that 75% of job growth in 2014 was in the South East, Midlands and Mid-East. That would have given a very different picture. But the truth is we need to look at each region. Some regions in 2014 fell, and that has an impact on if you like, the average number. You have to look at each region and seek to build to their strengths. That's what we're doing, and I hope you'll be there in Sligo later today so that you can engage and come up with the ideas that you see will drive change in your region, because that's what we want to do. We want to tap into the people who can make things happen in the region and provide money which you can bid for the best ideas to come to fruition. That's the best way to drive opportunities. You know, it's not quibbling about numbers. There's good performance and there's not so good, but we need to bring them all up.
Thank you. Question number 4 in the name